Welcome back, dear students, to our social studies class.
Children, at home you expect your parents to look after you,
Isn't it? You expect them to provide you with a home, give you food and clothes, and also pay for your school fees. These are actually your rights. But when you have rights, you also have duties. Some of your duties are respect them, help your parents, and pay attention to your studies. One more time, when you have rights, you also have duties. Some of your duties are to respect them, to help them, and pay attention to your studies. What do you think about your other duties? Think. So today we are going to study a new chapter, our rights and duties. Now let us see the mind map of this chapter. So students, look here, this is the mind map of this chapter, chapter 22, our rights and duties. In this chapter we are going to study about Constitution of India, and in that principles of democracy, our fundamental rights and duties, and also directive principles. Now let us begin our class. Our Constitution. Do you remember on November 26th we celebrated Constitution Day, and you also participated in quiz competition. Do you remember that? So we want to know what is a constitution. I will explain. Once our country was ruled by the British for almost 200 years. After a long and hard struggle, India got its independence from British on 15th August 1947. Our leaders got together to form a government. One of the first thing they did was they made a set of rules based on which a government would run. And this set of rules is known as our Constitution. So, a constitution is a set of rules accordingly to which a government governs or runs a country. Most of the countries have a constitution, and it is important for all people who belongs to that country called as citizens to follow and respect the constitution of their country. Do you know the Constitution of India is the longest written constitution in the world? Yes. The Constitution came into existence on 26 January 1950. We celebrate this day as Republic Day. Yes. Our Constitution lays down some important guiding principles
that has to be followed by the leaders of our nation.
The preamble or the introduction to our Constitution describes India as a sovereign, democratic, socialist, secular republic. What does it mean? Let us understand one by one. Children, there are 4 types of government: democracy, monarchy, dictatorship, theocracy, like that. Let me explain one by one. Monarchy. The state or the country is ruled by a king or a queen. The monarchy is hereditary. That is, when the monarchy dies, when the king or queen dies, his or her child will be the next king or queen. So that is monarchy. The next one is dictatorship. The state or the country is ruled by a single leader who has the absolute power. He or she misuses this power to oppress the people. For example, Hitler. This rule is not hereditary. Next type of government, theocracy. Government by divine guidance or by officials who are regarded as divinely guided. In many theocracies, government leaders are members of this government. Otherwise, I will explain like this. That is, it is a type of government that is ruled by a divine being or religious text. A ruler or group uses the power of God or gods and Texas to create law and guide government decision. So that's about theocracy. For example, I can tell you Vatican City. It's governed by Pope. So let us discuss about democracy. Our country is a democratic country. It means that all the people of the country will choose or elect leaders who would form the government. This kind of government is known as what? Democratic government. Thus, our country is no longer ruled by any kings. If the people are not happy with their elected leaders, they can be removed from their post. So therefore, a democratic government is a government of the people, by the people and for the people. Do you know this quote was given by Abraham Lincoln? Next term, socialism or socialist. This means that all the people in the country will be treated as equals. The government will not differentiate between people on the basis of their caste, creed, religion or in any other way. This is known as the principle of socialism. That means all the citizens of India should enjoy social equality and economic prosperity, and the government makes continuous effort to achieve this goal. So the next one, secularism. This means all people in our country would be free to follow whatever religion they want. That means people have the freedom to follow and practice any religion. This is known as
Principle of secularism.
the next term, republic. India is a republic because the ultimate power rests in the hands of citizens of India, that means us.
The citizens elect
Their representatives who act on behalf of them. Next, we are going to discuss about the fundamental rights. The Constitution of India gives its citizens certain fundamental rights. If anyone feels that their fundamental rights have been denied, they can approach a
court of law.
So we have 6 fundamental rights outlined in our constitution. The first one, right to equality. That means everyone is equal. Second one is right to freedom. Third one, right to follow any religion. Fourth one, right against exploitation. Fifth one, cultural and educational rights. Sixth, right to constitutional remedies. So these are the 6 fundamental rights. If we are feeling that our fundamental rights have been denied, we can actually approach a court. So that's about fundamental rights. Next, we are going to discuss about our fundamental duties. Duties always come along with rights. The Constitution of India expects its citizens to perform certain duties towards the country, society and other individuals. These duties are called fundamental duties. Some of our important duties as a citizen of India are: we must follow the rules laid down in the Constitution. We must respect our national flag and other national symbols. We must not engage in violence. We must protect our monuments and public property. We must defend the country in times of danger. We must protect our natural environment. We should preserve the rich heritage of our culture. So that's all about our fundamental duties. So these are the fundamental duties. We have some fundamental duties we have to follow. And do you know, children, all the people of our country who are above the age of 18 years can vote and elect their representative. This is called universal adult franchise. Last month I've been to my hometown and cast my vote. So next we are going to discuss about directive principles. Our constitution provides certain guidelines for the government to follow for the welfare of the people or welfare for the citizens. These guidelines are known as directive principles. Let us see some important guidelines. Providing proper living conditions for all citizens, that is one of the guidelines the government should follow. Providing work for everyone, and people should get equal wages or equal salary for equal work. All children should get free education up to 14 years. Next one, ensuring that some people do not become rich by exploiting others. Improving the conditions of weaker sections of society, such as those belonging to scheduled caste. And the state provide its people with health care, education and their welfare. Another one, all people are seen as equal by the government. So children, that's all about our rights and duties directive principle. Now we know that what is a constitution? It is a set of rules based on which our government runs. Our country is a democratic, socialist, secular country. The constitution gives all citizens certain fundamental rights and also lays down the duties of the citizens. And directive principles laid down in the constitution guide the government to work for the welfare of the people. So that's all for today. So you have to read the chapter and we will discuss your doubts during our interactive session. Now take care children. Bye-bye.